Welcome back to another episode of Valuable Coins, where we dive deep into the world of numismatics, uncovering the most valuable and unique coins in the market today. If you're a coin enthusiast, collector, or simply interested in the incredible value of rare coins, you're in the right place. In today's video, we will explore two of the most fascinating and expensive United States coins currently circulating the auction market. First up, the 1952D Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the later years of the Wheat Cent series, which ran from 1909 until 1958. The obverse still carried Victor David Brenner's portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displayed the classic wheat stalks framing the denomination. By the early 1950s, the Lincoln Wheat Cent had already become one of the most widely used and recognized coins in circulation. The Denver Mint produced an impressive 746 million pennies in 1952, a very large mintage that makes this issue quite common today. With so many coins struck and surviving, most 1952D pennies are not rare, especially in circulated condition. Collectors generally look for higher-grade red examples or unusual errors from this year, rather than worn, low-grade pieces. This coin is described as being in bad condition with scratches. In coin grading terms, bad condition generally means it falls into the lower circulated grades, such as about good, fair, or good. On such coins, Lincoln's portrait is heavily worn. Details in his hair and face are flat. The wheat stalks on the reverse are nearly smooth, and scratches further reduce eye appeal, while the date and mint mark remain visible. The heavy wear makes it a very low-grade collectible. So what is a 1952D wheat penny worth in today's market? In poor to heavily worn condition, these coins usually sell for 2 to 3 cents, just slightly above face value. In higher circulated grades, like fine or very fine, values can rise to 5 to 15 cents. Extra fine examples may bring 20 to 40 cents. And about uncirculated pieces typically trade for around 50 cents to $1. In mint state, red-brown coins are worth about $2 to $5, while fully red examples in higher grades can sell for $15 to $40, with the best certified pieces reaching $100 or more at auction. For this specific coin, A1952D wheat penny in bad condition with scratches, the realistic value today is about 2 to 3 cents. Its heavy wear and damage place it at the lowest end of the value scale, though it still carries interest as part of the historic wheat penny series. The 1952D penny also has historical significance, as it was struck during a time of post-war economic growth in America. Though common, it represents the pennies that everyday Americans used in their pockets, stores, and savings jars during the early 1950s. First up, the 1966 Washington quarter without a mint mark is often described as silver, but in reality, it is not. After 1964, the U.S. Mint completely phased out silver quarters from regular circulation and began striking all quarters from copper-nickel clad. This new composition used a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of copper-nickel alloy, which produced the same silver-like appearance but contained no actual silver. Therefore, the 1966 quarter is made of clad, not 90% silver, and carries no silver bullion value. The only true silver quarters produced after 1964 were special proof or commemorative issues, and none of them came from 1966. Your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches. On the coin grading scale, fine indicates a circulated coin with noticeable wear across the high points. For the obverse, George Washington's portrait would have most of the hair details worn flat, with only a few lines still visible. The cheek, jaw, and neck would be smooth from circulation. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers, particularly around the breast and wings, would show significant wear. Scratches are another factor that lowers value since they are considered damage beyond natural wear. Such marks often come from handling, storage in less than ideal conditions, or contact with other coins. From a value perspective, the 1966 quarter is not rare. The U.S. Mint struck over 821 million quarters that year, and they remain plentiful in circulation and in collections. Because it is not silver, its value is tied to its face value rather than bullion content. In today's market, a 1966 quarter in fine condition with scratches is worth only 25 cents. Collectors usually seek uncirculated examples where value starts to rise. A mint state 1966 quarter-graded MS-65 might sell for $150 to $200. And superb gems graded MS-67 can sometimes command $200 or more. But such coins are uncommon due to the heavy circulation of the 1965, 1967 issues. It is also important to note that from 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint suspended the use of mint marks as part of a coinage simplification program. This was done to discourage hoarding of coins, since collectors at the time were pulling too many mint-marked coins from circulation. That means all 1966 quarters lack a mint mark, regardless of whether they were struck in Philadelphia or Denver. As a result, there are no mint mark varieties for this year, making the series uniform. As with other years, some error coins exist for 1966, and these can be far more valuable than regular strikes. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchette such as nickel or foreign blanks are highly collectible and can bring strong premiums depending on the severity of the error. However, without an error, most circulated 1966 quarters remain worth only face value. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny is one of the most recognized coins of the World War II era. Struck just a year after the famous 1943 steel cents, the 1944 pennies marked the return to a primarily copper alloy, made partly from recycled shell casings from the war effort. This gives the 1944 issue extra historical importance, as these coins literally carry the story of wartime America. The San Francisco Mint struck more than 282 million pennies in 1944, identified by the small s mint mark beneath the date. While not scarce, the 1944S is less common than its Philadelphia and Denver counterparts, making it somewhat more collectible among the three. This particular coin is described as being in good condition, with scratches. In grading terms, good means it is well worn, with Lincoln's portrait flat and many details missing, though the outline of his head, the date, and mint mark remain clear. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are faint, with most inner lines worn smooth. Scratches further reduce its overall eye appeal, though it still holds value to collectors because of its age and mint mark. So, what is a 1944's Lincoln Wheat penny worth in today's market? In good condition, like this one, it typically trades for about 5 to 10 cents. In fine condition, values rise to around 15 to 25 cents, and in very fine, they can bring 30 to 50 cents. Extra fine examples may sell for 75 cents to $1.50, while about uncirculated pieces usually fetch $2 to $4. In mint state, red-brown coins are worth around $5 to $10, while fully red certified examples can sell for $30 to $75 at the highest mint state levels. Some pieces can even exceed $200 at auction. For this specific coin, 1944S Wheat penny, in good condition with scratches, the realistic value today is about 5 to 8 cents. The scratches and heavy wear keep it on the lower end of the price scale, but it remains a collectible piece from the wartime years of U.S. coinage. The 1944S penny carries strong historical appeal because of its direct connection to the World War II era. Collectors often view it as part of the transition from the one-year-only steel cent of Gret 1943 back to the traditional copper alloy, making it far more than just another common wheat penny. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter with the Philadelphia P mint mark is another coin that many people assume is silver because of its color. It is not. By 1980, the U.S. Mint had not struck circulation's silver quarters for more than 15 years. All quarters from 1965 onward were produced in copper-nickel clad, which means they have a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel alloy. This gives them a bright, silvery appearance but contains no actual silver. The only true silver quarters of that era were special proof issues struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark. Since your coin has a P mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia as a regular circulation coin and has no silver content. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches. On the coin grading scale, good is one of the lower circulated grades, meaning the coin has heavy wear. On the obverse, Washington's portrait would appear flat, with nearly all fine hair details worn away and the cheek and jawline blending smoothly into the field. On the reverse, the eagle's feathered details would be largely faded, with the wings and breast showing strong wear. Scratches are considered damage and further reduce the collectible appeal. Even for a common coin, from a value standpoint, the 1980p Washington quarter is extremely common. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 635 million quarters that year, making them easy to find even today. Because the coin is clad and not silver, it carries no bullion value. In today's market, circulated 1980p quarter in good condition with scratches is worth only its face value of 25 cents. Collectors are mainly interested in high-grade uncirculated examples. A mint state coin-graded MS-65 might sell for about $20,000 or more, while superb gems graded MS-67 can sometimes bring $200 or more. Though these are very scarce, the 1980 issue is historically notable because it was the first year the Philadelphia Mint began placing the P mint mark on quarters. Prior to this date, Philadelphia struck quarters carried no mint mark at all. While this fact makes the 1980p interesting to collectors from a historical perspective, circulated examples like yours are still common and not valuable. Error coins from this year can add value. Collectors sometimes find 1980 quarters with off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, or even coins struck on the wrong planchette, such as a dime or foreign blank. These kinds of mint errors, if authenticated, can be worth significantly more than face value. In conclusion, the 1980p Washington quarter in good condition with scratches is not silver, not rare, and in today's market is worth about 25 cents. Only uncirculated high-grade coins or rare mint errors carry additional value, while circulated coins like yours remain common examples of everyday coinage from the early 1980s. Next up, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the last issues of the long-running Wheat Cent series, which began in 1909 and ended in 1958. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat stalks on the reverse. By the mid-1950s, the wheat penny had already become a familiar coin in circulation, though collectors were beginning to save rolls and bags in anticipation of the design change that would soon arrive in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 420 million pennies in 1956, a very high mintage that makes this coin common today in circulated grades. Because so many survive, the 1956 no-mint mark penny is one of the more affordable wheat cents, especially when heavily worn. Collectors typically pay more attention to higher-grade uncirculated red examples than to coins in lower circulated conditions. This coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches. In grading terms, fine means the coin saw moderate circulation. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait shows noticeable wear, with much of the detail in his hair and cheeks smoothed down. The date and lettering remain strong and readable. On the reverse, The wheat stalks are still outlined, but most of the inner lines have worn away. The scratches further reduce the coin's eye appeal, though it still carries collector interest as part of the final years of the wheat series. So, what is a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny worth in today's market? In good condition, it usually trades for 2 to 3 cents, just slightly above face value. In fine condition, like this coin, the value rises to about 5 to 10 cents. Very fine examples may sell for 10 to 15 cents, while extra fine coins typically bring 20 to 30 cents. About uncirculated pieces can reach 40 to 75 cents. And mint state red-brown examples are usually worth $1 to $3. Fully red uncirculated coins can bring $10 to $25. With high-grade certified MS66 or MS67 red examples reaching $100 or more at auction. For this specific coin, 1956. No mint mark wheat penny in fine condition with scratches. The realistic market value today is around 5 to 7 cents. While not rare, it is still worth more than face value and holds significance as part of the final chapter of the wheat penny series. The 1956 penny reflects the closing years of an iconic coin design. Though common, it represents the pennies that circulated in America during a time of prosperity in the 1950s. Just before the design shifted to honor Lincoln's memorial. To sum it up, the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny, without mint mark, in fine condition with scratches, has a current market value of about 5 to 7 cents in today's market. While modest in price, it remains a collectible coin with both historical and sentimental value for wheat cent enthusiasts. Next up, the 1979 Washington quarter with the Denver D mint mark is sometimes mistaken for being silver because of its appearance. But like all circulation quarters struck after 1964, it is actually made of copper-nickel clad. The composition consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of copper-nickel alloy, which gives the coin a silvery look but contains no real silver content. The only true 90% silver quarters produced in the late 1970s were special proof coins issued for collectors, and they were struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark. Because your coin carries a D mint mark, it was struck in Denver as a standard circulation issue and does not contain silver. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches. In numismatic terms, very fine means the coin has moderate circulation, but still retains more detail than a coin graded only fine or good. On the obverse, Washington's portrait would still show clear features, with hair details partly worn but visible. The cheek and jawline may be smooth from use, but the overall outline remains distinct. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers, wings, and legs would still be visible, though noticeably worn. Scratches, however, are considered damage and lower the eye appeal and value of the coin, even if it grades very fine. From a value perspective, the 1979D Washington quarter is very common. The Denver Mint struck over 489 million quarters that year, which means they are easy to find in circulation and in collections. Because the coin is clad and not silver, it has no intrinsic bullion value. In today's auction market, 1979D quarter in very fine condition with scratches is worth its face value of 25 cents. Collectors typically only pay more for coins in uncirculated mint state grades. For example, a mint state 65 example might sell for $300 to $500, and superb gems graded MS67 can sometimes reach $200 or more, though such coins are rare because most of the mintage entered. Circulation. Error. Varieties for this year also exist and can add significant value. Collectors look for off-center strikes, broad strikes, double strikes, or wrong planchette errors. For instance, a 1979D quarter struck on a dime blank would be highly collectible and could sell for hundreds of dollars. However, regular circulation strikes without errors remain common and hold only face value in circulated grades. In conclusion, the 1979 D Washington quarter in very fine condition with scratches is not silver, not rare, and in today's market it is worth 25 cents. Only uncirculated high-grade coins or rare mint errors carry notable premiums. Still, it remains part of the long-running Washington quarter series that carried the eagle reverse design for decades, making it a recognizable and historic piece of everyday U.S. coinage. Next up, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the later years of the Wheat Cent series, which ran from 1909 through 1958, designed by Victor David Brenner. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse carries the classic wheat stalks that had become symbolic of the series. By 1954, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had been in circulation for 45 years, and collectors of the time were already taking interest in putting aside coins in higher grades. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 71 million wheat pennies in 1954, making this issue fairly common today. While not as high a mintage as some later dates, it is still widely available in circulated grades. Collectors usually seek uncirculated examples, especially those with full red color, as those carry stronger premiums. This coin is described as having a large date design. On 1954 pennies, the date style can appear slightly bolder and more prominent, though the difference is not a major rarity. The grading places it in extra fine condition. At this level, the coin shows light wear from circulation but retains strong detail. On the obverse, Lincoln's hair and cheek are still well defined, with only minor flattening. The date and lettering are sharp and clear. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are complete with many inner lines visible. The scratches reduce its eye appeal somewhat, but the overall detail is far above average circulation. So what is a 1954 no mint mark wheat penny worth in today's market? In lower circulated grades like good, these coins trade for about 3 to 5 cents. In fine condition, values rise to 5 to 10 cents, while very fine examples are worth around 10 to 15 cents. Extra fine coins such as this one typically sell for 20 to 40 cents. About uncirculated examples may bring 50 cents to $1, while mint state coins are valued much higher. Uncirculated red-brown coins often sell for $2 to $5, and bright red certified coins can range from $15 to $30, with superb MS-66 or higher examples reaching $100 or more at auction. For this specific coin, a 1954 wheat penny without mint mark, large date, in extra fine condition with scratches, the realistic value today is about 20 to 30 cents. The scratches reduce it slightly, but the sharp detail of extra fine grade still makes it a desirable mid-level collectible. The 1954 penny also represents an interesting point in U.S. coinage history. It circulated during the booming post-war years of the 1950s, just a few years before the wheat design would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Coins like this mark the transition between America's wartime coinage of the 1940s and the modern era that began in the late 1950s. To sum it up, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark, large date in extra fine condition with scratches, carries a current market value of around 20 to 30 cents in today's market. While not rare, it remains a collectible coin that showcases strong detail, historical significance, and a place in the final years of the beloved Wheat Penny series. Next up, the 1997 Washington Quarter with the Philadelphia P mint mark is a coin that often causes confusion because of its silver-like shine, but it is not made of silver. By 1997, the U.S. Mint had been striking all circulation quarters in copper-nickel clad for more than 3 decades. Ever since silver was removed from regular coinage after 1964, these clad quarters have a pure, copper core with outer layers of copper and nickel, giving them their silvery appearance. The only true silver quarters issued in 1997 were special 90% silver-proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. And those carry an S Mint mark, not a P. That means your 1997 P quarter is a standard clad circulation coin. Not silver, your coin is described as being in uncirculated condition, but with some scratches. Uncirculated means it has not been used in everyday commerce and should retain its original mint luster and sharp detail. However, scratches reduce its grade because collectors prefer coins with clean, undamaged surfaces. In technical terms, such a coin would fall somewhere in the lower mint state grades, depending on how noticeable the scratches are. A high-grade uncirculated coin without damage might grade MS65 or better, while a scratched example would grade lower, reducing its desirability and market value. From a value perspective, the 1997 P quarter is very common. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 595 million of them that year, so even in uncirculated condition, they are not rare. Because the coin is clad and not silver, it carries no bullion value. In today's market, an average uncirculated 1997 P quarter might be worth around $100 to $500, depending on the quality of its luster and the severity of any scratches. Coins in superb gem condition, graded MS67 or higher, are much scarcer and can sometimes bring $100 or more at auction, but a scratched, uncirculated example would stay at the lower end of the value range. This coin comes from the very end of the Eagle Reverse series, which ran from 1932 through 1998. In 1999, the State Quarters program was launched, completely changing the design and sparking huge collector interest. That gives late 1990s quarters, like your 1997, issue a historical place in the series as some of the final years before the design change. Error coins from 1997 are also known and can add significant value if authenticated. Examples include off-center strikes, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchette. These are rare but can bring premiums in today's auction market. In conclusion, the 1997 P Washington quarter in uncirculated condition with scratches is not silver, not rare, and in today's market is worth about $1 to $5, depending on how noticeable the scratches are. Only high-grade mint state coins without damage or rare mint errors sell for more. Still, this piece represents one of the last years of the traditional Eagle Reverse before the modern State Quarters era began, making it an interesting collectible for those who appreciate U.S. coinage history. Next up, the 1985 Washington quarter with the Denver D Mint mark is sometimes described as silver because of its shiny look, but in fact, it is not made of silver. By 1985, the U.S. Mint had not struck circulation silver quarters for more than 20 years. All quarters made after 1964 for general use were copper-nickel clad, with a pure copper core and an outer copper-nickel alloy layer. This composition gives the coin a silvery appearance but contains no precious metal. The only true 90% silver quarters in the 1980s were proof coins from San Francisco with an S Mint mark, not D. That means your 1985D is a regular clad circulation issue. Your coin is described as being in extra fine condition with some scratches. In coin grading, extra fine XF means the coin has seen moderate circulation but still shows strong detail. On the obverse, George Washington's hairlines remain visible, though the highest points are worn. His cheek and jawline show flattening from use, but the portrait outline is clear. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers on the wings and breast are worn but still distinct. Scratches, however, are considered damage, not just wear, and that lowers the eye appeal and collector value of the coin. From a value perspective, the 1985D Washington quarter is very common. The Denver Mint struck more than 520 million quarters that year, ensuring that large numbers survive today. Because it is clad and not silver, it has no bullion value. In today's market, a circulated 1985D in extra fine condition with scratches is worth its face value of 25 cents. Collectors generally only pay premiums for mint-state examples. A typical uncirculated coin-graded MS-65 might sell for $25,000, while top-grade gems at MS-67 can sometimes bring several $100s. But such coins are scarce because most of the mintage went into circulation. Error coins from 1985 do exist and can raise value if found. Examples include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchette, such as a dime blank. These kinds of errors are rare but can bring strong premiums when authenticated by a grading service. Without such an error, though, circulated coins like yours remain common pocket change. In conclusion, the 1985D Washington quarter in extra fine condition with scratches is not silver. Not rare, and in today's market, it is worth about 25 cents. Its value rises only in high uncirculated grades or if it shows a rare mint error. Still, it remains a piece of American coinage history from the mid-1980s. Part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that carried the Eagle reverse design until the launch of the State Quarters program in 1999.